Commander Lee Hyun-woo sat in his control chair aboard the Earth Defense Station Aegis Prime. The station floated in space between Earth and Mars, watching for any threats that might come from the outer planets. It was a quiet Tuesday morning and Hyun-woo was drinking his coffee while reading patrol reports. The coffee was still hot when every screen in the command center went black. "Sir, we're getting a signal," said Lieutenant Park Jin-soo from his communication desk. "It's coming from everywhere at once. Every satellite, every communication relay, every screen in human space." Hyun-woo put down his coffee cup. "Show me." The main screen flickered and showed a massive arena filled with thousands of seats. In the center was a raised platform where 50,000 people stood in rows. They wore simple clothes and looked scared. Many of them were families with children. Some were old people who could barely stand. Above the platform, a giant alien creature appeared. It had scales like a snake and eyes like burning coals. When it spoke, its voice was deep and cold. "I am Chancellor Vextar of the Cosmic Council," the creature said. "Today we deliver justice to the galaxy. These humans from the colony world of New Busan have broken the sacred covenant. They have tried to build weapons beyond their allowed level. This is their punishment." Hyun-woo felt his blood turn to ice. He knew those people. New Busan was a farming colony where families went to start new lives. They grew food and raised children. "They had no weapons. This can't be real," whispered Lieutenant Park. But it was real. As they watched, energy beams came down from the ceiling. The 50,000 people didn't even have time to scream. In seconds, they were all gone. Nothing remained but empty space and silence. The alien chancellor looked directly at the camera. "Let this be a warning to all lesser species. Know your place in the cosmic order. Advance beyond your limits and face the same fate." The screen went black. On Earth, Dr. Park So-young was in her lab at the United Defense Command building in Seoul. She was studying alien biology samples when her assistant ran in. "Dr. Park, you need to see this. It's on every channel." So-young followed her assistant to the main conference room where dozens of people were gathered around screens. General Kim Tae-min stood at the front, his face white with shock and anger. So-young watched the broadcast replay. She had met some of those colonists at the last diplomatic meeting. There was farmer Kim Dong-woo and his 3 children. There was teacher Lee Mi-young who taught human children about Earth's history. There was old man Choi Byung-ho who told stories to make people laugh. All dead now. All murdered. "How many?" General Kim asked quietly. 50,000 confirmed," said his aide. "Men, women, children, elderly. The entire colony population." Dr. So-young felt sick. She had been Earth's main diplomat with alien species for 10 years. She had always believed they could find peace through talking and understanding. But this was not the work of civilized beings. This was pure evil. "The accusations are lies," she said. "I've been to New Busan. They were farmers and teachers and shopkeepers. They had no weapons research. They barely had enough technology to run their irrigation systems." General Kim nodded grimly. "I know, but that's not why the council killed them." Deep underground in a secret laboratory beneath Seoul, Engineer Choi Min-ho was working when the alarms went off. Security guards ran through the hallways shouting orders. Min-ho left his workstation and ran to find out what was happening. He found his supervisor, Dr. Yu Sang-min, watching the broadcast on a small screen. The older man's hands were shaking. "They killed them all," Dr. Yu whispered. 50,000 innocent people." Min-ho watched the replay and felt rage build in his chest. He had been working for 3 years on a secret project called Prometheus Protocol. It was supposed to make humans stronger and smarter and able to fight back against alien threats. His supervisors always told him to work slowly and be careful. They said it was too dangerous to rush, but now Min-ho saw 50,000 reasons to work faster. "Dr. Yu," he said quietly, "I need to accelerate the Prometheus timeline. The council will notice if we advance too quickly," Dr. Yu warned. "They're already killing us," Min-ho replied. "What's the worst that could happen? They kill more of us?" Back on Aegis Prime, Commander Hyun-woo called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. The space station's officers gathered in the briefing room, their faces grim and angry. "Analysis," Hyun-woo said simply. "The broadcast went to every inhabited world in the galaxy," said Communications Officer Lee Young-ja. "This wasn't just a message to humans. The council wanted everyone to see." "Why New Busan?" asked Lieutenant Park. Dr. So-young appeared on the communication screen from Earth. New Busan was chosen because they were defenseless. she said. The council wasn't punishing them for building weapons. They were sending a message about what happens when any species gets too advanced too quickly. What do you mean? Hyunwoo asked. Humans have advanced faster than any species in galactic history, So Young explained. Most aliens take millions of years to develop spaceflight. We did it in a few hundred years. The council is afraid of what we might become if we keep growing at this rate. General Kim appeared on another screen. Intelligence reports suggest other species are watching this closely. Some are scared of humans now. Others are scared of the council. This broadcast might have been a mistake. How so? Hyunwoo asked. Because now everyone knows the council rules through fear, not law, General Kim said. And everyone knows they're afraid of us. Hyunwoo looked around at his officers. They were young people, most in their 20s and 30s. They had joined the Defense Force to protect Earth and explore space. None of them had signed up for war against an entire galactic government, but war seemed to be what they were getting. Orders, sir? Asked Lieutenant Park. Hyunwoo thought about those 50,000 people. Farmers and teachers and children and grandparents. People who just wanted to live their lives in peace. People who had trusted Earth to protect them. Double all patrol schedules, he said. Full sensor sweeps of every human colony. If the council wants to kill more innocent people, they'll have to go through us first. Sir, said Officer Lee Young-ja, our weapons can't match council ships. Maybe not yet, Hyunwoo replied, thinking about engineer Choi Min-ho and his secret project far below the surface of Earth. But that might change sooner than they think. As the officers left to carry out their orders, Hyunwoo stayed alone in the briefing room. He looked out the window at Earth, beautiful and blue and peaceful. He thought about the 50,000 people who would never see their homeworld again. The council had made a terrible mistake. They thought killing innocent people would make humans afraid and obedient. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous than any weapon. They had awakened human anger. 3 months after the massacre, Captain Yoon Da-eun crept through the shadows of an alien space station. Her black suit made her nearly invisible in the dark corridors. Behind her, 5 other human soldiers moved like ghosts through the enemy base. The station belonged to the Vorthak, one of the Council's most loyal species. They had been ordered to clean up human colonies in the Outer Rim. Da-eun's mission was simple: get the human prisoners out before the Vorthak could execute them. She pressed herself against a wall as 2 Vorthak guards walked past. They were tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. They carried energy weapons that could cut through metal. But they were also slow and predictable. Da-eun waited until they turned the corner, then moved to the prison section. Inside the cells were 200 humans from the colony world of New Seoul. They were mostly women and children whose husbands and fathers had already been killed. "Who are you?" whispered a young woman holding a baby. "Earth Defense Force," Da-eun replied softly. "We're getting you out of here." Her team worked quickly to open the cell doors. They had studied Vorthak technology for weeks to learn how to disable their locks. The prisoners were weak and scared, but they followed orders without question. As they moved toward the escape route, alarms began to sound. The Vorthak had discovered the breakout. "Run!" Da-eun shouted. Her soldiers formed a protective circle around the prisoners as they raced through the corridors. Energy beams flashed around them as Vorthak guards opened fire. 2 of Da-eun's soldiers fell, but the others kept moving. They reached their ship just as more Vorthak arrived. Da-eun was the last one aboard, firing her weapon to keep the aliens back. The ship's engines roared to life and they blasted away from the station. 200 saved, she reported to her commanding officer as they jumped to hyperspace. But thousands more are still out there. On Earth, Dr. Park So-young worked day and night in her laboratory. She had been studying captured council communications for months, trying to understand their true plans. What she found made her blood run cold. The council had been watching humanity for over a century. They had detailed reports on human technological progress, population growth, and military capabilities. The reports showed that council scientists were terrified of how fast humans were advancing. "Look at this," she said to General Kim Tae-min, showing him a translated document. "This is from 50 years ago. A council researcher predicted that humans would become a galactic threat within 200 years if left unchecked." General Kim read the document with growing anger. "They've been planning this genocide for decades. It gets worse," So Young continued. "The accusations about New Busan were completely fake. The council planted evidence of weapons research in their computers after they destroyed the colony. They needed an excuse that other species would accept. Why show the executions publicly then? Kim asked. Fear, So Young replied. They wanted every species in the galaxy to know what happens if you advance too quickly. The council doesn't just rule through military might. They rule through terror. She pulled up another document that made Kim's face go pale. This is their next target list. They plan to eliminate human colonies one by one over the next 5 years. By the end, they estimate only Earth itself will remain, with a population reduced to 50 million people. Barely enough to maintain basic civilization, Kim realized. Exactly. They want to keep humans alive as a servant species, but never let us become strong enough to challenge them again. Meanwhile, engineer Choi Min-ho was pushing his team harder than ever before. The Prometheus Protocol was humanity's best hope, but it was also incredibly dangerous. The technology would fundamentally change what it meant to be human. The neural interface is ready for testing, reported his assistant, Dr. Nam Hye-jin, but we still don't know what the long-term effects will be. Min-ho looked at the prototype device. It was small and silver, designed to be implanted at the base of a person's skull. The device would connect human brains directly to computer systems, allowing for impossible processing speeds and reaction times. What about the physical enhancements? He asked. Those are working better than expected, replied Dr. Lee Kwang-ho from the biology section. The genetic modifications increase strength, speed, and healing by 300%. The subjects we tested on volunteer soldiers showed remarkable improvements. Min-ho nodded. The Prometheus Protocol wasn't just about making better weapons or faster ships. It was about making better humans. Humans who could think faster, fight harder, and survive in conditions that would kill normal people. But there was a cost. The volunteers who had tested the system were no longer quite the same people they had been before. They were stronger and smarter, but they also seemed distant from their old friends and families. The modifications changed not just their bodies, but their minds as well. Sir, said Dr. Nam carefully, are we sure this is the right path? Once we activate Prometheus on a large scale, there's no going back. Humanity will be forever changed. Min-ho thought about Captain Yoon Do-eun and her desperate rescue missions. He thought about the thousands of human prisoners still in council hands. He thought about the 50,000 people who had died at New Busan. The council already changed us, he said quietly. They made us into victims. Prometheus will make us into something else entirely. Back in space, Commander Hyun-woo was coordinating the largest rescue operation in human history. Ships from Earth Defense Force were scattered across the galaxy, trying to evacuate human colonies before the Council could destroy them. But they were losing the race. For every colony they saved, 2 more were attacked. The Council had ships and resources that humanity couldn't match. They had been the galactic government for millions of years and controlled technology that humans could barely understand. Status report, Hyun-woo requested during his daily briefing. 12. More colonies hit this week, reported Lieutenant Park Jin-soo. We managed to evacuate 7, but 5 were completely destroyed. Total human casualties this month, 87,000. Hyun-woo closed his eyes. Each number represented families, children, dreams destroyed. The Council was methodically wiping out human civilization, and there seemed to be nothing Earth could do to stop them. What about our allies? He asked. The Terran Free States are still officially neutral, Park replied. The Centauri Republic offers moral support but no military aid. The other independent species are too afraid of the Council to help openly, so we're alone. Not entirely, sir. Park's voice carried a note of hope. We've been getting some interesting reports from our intelligence network. He activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Several star systems were highlighted in different colors. The Cathari have been having equipment failures in Council-controlled space, Park explained. Their crystal technology keeps mysteriously malfunctioning, which makes Council logistics much harder. The Valdris have been reporting food shortages that affect Council supply lines but somehow never impact human rescue ships, added Communications Officer Lee Youngja, and the Zenth Coalition has been sharing navigation data that helps our ships avoid Council patrols while providing outdated information to Council forces. Finished. Intelligence Officer Seo Dongmin Hyun-woo felt his first real hope in months. They're helping us secretly. It appears so, sir. The Council's broadcast may have had an unintended effect. Instead of terrifying other species into submission, it showed them how ruthless the Council really is. Some species are starting to wonder if they might be next. That night, Hyunwoo received an encrypted message from General Kim on Earth. The message was simple but carried enormous implications. Prometheus protocol approved for immediate deployment. Volunteer pilots report for enhancement procedures tomorrow. The war is about to change. Hyunwoo looked out at the stars and thought about what was coming. Humanity had spent 3 months running and hiding, saving who they could while watching their people die. The Council thought they were winning by terrorizing a helpless species. They were about to learn that cornered humans were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. The next morning, Hyunwoo watched as 12 volunteer pilots prepared for the Prometheus enhancement procedures. They were young men and women who had volunteered to become something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. Captain Yoon Da-eun was among them. She looked at Hyunwoo before entering the enhancement chamber. "When we come out," she said, "we won't be the same people we were before." "Good," Hyunwoo replied. "The people we were before couldn't protect our colonies. Maybe the people you become will be able to do what we couldn't." As the enhancement chambers sealed shut, Hyunwoo knew that humanity had just crossed a line they could never uncross. Win or lose, they would never again be the species that had begged the Council for peace. They were becoming something the Council had never faced before, humans with nothing left to lose and everything to gain. Captain Yoon Da-eun opened her eyes and immediately knew she was different. The enhancement chamber hissed open, and she stepped out into a world that seemed sharper, brighter, more alive than before. Every sound was crystal clear, every color was vivid, and her mind processed information at impossible speeds. "How do you feel?" asked Dr. Nam Hae-jin, monitoring her vital signs. Daeun looked at her hands. They looked the same, but she could feel the strength flowing through her muscles like electricity. She could sense the heartbeats of everyone in the room, smell their individual scents, and process the meaning of their facial expressions in fractions of a second. "Different," she said simply. "Ready." Engineer Choi Min-ho watched as all 12 volunteers completed their transformations. The Prometheus protocol had worked better than he had hoped. These humans were no longer just people with better technology. They had become something new entirely. "Phase 2 is ready for activation," he reported to General Kim Tae-min. "Our enhanced pilots are reporting perfect integration with the new ship systems." The ships were as revolutionary as the pilots. Using Prometheus technology, human engineers had built vessels that bent the laws of physics as other species understood them. They could appear and disappear instantly, travel faster than anything in Council space, and adapt their weapon systems in real time. General Kim stood in the command center watching the first test flight. Captain Da-eun's ship, the Ghost of Busan, flickered in and out of existence on the sensors like it was dancing between dimensions. "How is this possible?" asked Dr. Park So-young. "The Prometheus enhancement doesn't just make humans stronger," Min-ho explained. "It changes how they think. Enhanced humans can process quantum mechanics intuitively. They can navigate hyperspace like it's a city street. They can predict enemy movements before the enemy knows what they're going to do." On the test flight, Da-eun felt like she had become one with her ship. The controls responded to her thoughts before she touched them. The sensors showed her not just where enemy ships were, but where they were going to be. She could see patterns in space itself that normal humans could never perceive. "Control requesting permission to engage simulated Council patrol," she radioed. "Permission denied," came the reply. "This is just a test flight." But Da-eun had already spotted real Council ships approaching Earth's outer defense perimeter. 3 heavy cruisers and a dozen fighters, moving in formation toward the human colonies in the asteroid belt. "Control, we have incoming hostiles," she reported. 12 human pilots are requesting permission to engage." There was a long pause. Then General Kim's voice came through the radio. "Permission granted. Show us what Prometheus can do." The battle was unlike anything in galactic history. The Council ships moved in predictable formations, using tactics that had worked for millions of years. But the human ships seemed to exist outside normal space-time. They appeared behind enemy vessels, fired devastating attacks, and vanished before return fire could hit them. Captain Park Seo-jun, piloting the New Soul's Revenge, found himself behind a Council cruiser that hadn't even realized he was there. His weapons, enhanced by Prometheus technology, cut through their shields like paper. The massive alien ship exploded in seconds. Captain Kim Yoo-jin, in the Children's Hope, moved through the enemy fighter squadron like a ghost. The alien pilots couldn't track her movements or predict her attacks. In minutes, all 12 enemy fighters were destroyed. The Council cruisers tried to retreat, but the enhanced humans could think faster than enemy computers could calculate escape routes. Within 20 minutes, the entire Council fleet was destroyed without a single human casualty. On Earth, the command center was silent with shock. "Did that really happen?" whispered Lieutenant Park Jin-soo. Dr. Park So-young checked the sensor readings 3 times. "According to our instruments, 12 human ships just destroyed a Council fleet that should have been able to conquer an entire star system." General Kim smiled grimly. "Engineer Min-ho, I think it's time to move to full deployment." Within days, Prometheus-enhanced humans and their impossible ships began appearing throughout Council space. They struck military installations, rescued human prisoners, and liberated alien species that had been oppressed for centuries. Commander Hyun-woo watched the reports pour in from across the galaxy. Human ships had freed the Cathari homeworld from Council occupation. They had destroyed the prison camps where the Valdris were being held. They had even liberated several Council member species who had been forced to serve against their will. "The Council is calling emergency sessions," reported Intelligence Officer Seo Dong-min. "Their military commanders are demanding explanations for how humans became so powerful so quickly." "What are they saying?" Hyun-woo asked. "Mostly panic," Seo replied. "They keep using the phrase impossible parameters. Their computers can't calculate human ship movements or predict human tactics." Dr. Park So-young had been analyzing captured Council communications. "They're starting to fragment," she reported. "Some Council species are questioning whether the war with humans is worth the cost. Others want to escalate even further." "Which faction is winning?" General Kim asked. "The escalation faction led by Chancellor Vexistar," So-young replied grimly. "They're authorizing the use of weapons that have been banned for millions of years. Planet-killer devices, weapons that can destroy entire star systems." This was the news that Engineer Min-ho had been dreading. The Prometheus Protocol had made humans incredibly powerful, but it couldn't protect entire worlds from weapons designed to crack planets in half. "How long until they deploy these weapons?" he asked. "Intelligence suggests within days," So-young replied. "They're targeting Earth first, then every human colony world simultaneously." Min-ho looked at his team of scientists and engineers. They had created miracles in the last few months, but this might be beyond even their enhanced capabilities. "There is one option," he said slowly. "Prometheus Phase 3. General Kim leaned forward. "What's Phase 3? "We share the enhancement with our allies," Min-ho explained. "The Cathari, the Valdris, the Zenth Coalition, and every other species that wants to be free from Council rule. We give them the same capabilities we have." "That's never been tested," warned Dr. Nam Hyejin. "We don't know if Prometheus technology will work the same way on non-human biology." "We don't have time for extensive testing," Min-ho replied. "The Council is about to destroy Earth. Our choice is to try something untested, or watch our homeworld die." Back in space, Captain Da-eun was leading a raid on a Council supply depot when she received the new orders. Phase 3 was approved. She was to rendezvous with allied species and begin sharing Prometheus technology immediately. She found the Cathari fleet waiting at the coordinates, their crystal ships glowing with nervous energy. The Cathari leader, Commander Threxall, appeared on her communication screen. "Human Da-eun," the crystalline being said, "we have heard of your new capabilities. Our people are willing to accept your enhancement if it means freedom from Council oppression." "I have to warn you," Da-eun replied. "This will change your people permanently. You won't be the same Cathari you were before." "We have been slaves for 10,000 years, Threxall responded. "We welcome the chance to become something different." The enhancement process worked differently on alien biology, but it worked. The Cathari who underwent Prometheus modification retained their crystal-based physiology, but gained the ability to think and react like enhanced humans. Their ships could move through space like living things, adapting to any situation. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The Valdris combined their bioengineering skills with Prometheus technology to create ships that could literally grow new weapons during battle. The Zenth Coalition used their mathematical abilities enhanced by Prometheus to predict enemy movements days in advance. For the first time in galactic history, multiple species were working together as equals, sharing technology and capabilities freely. Chancellor Vextar watched the reports from his command ship with growing rage and fear. The galaxy was changing too quickly for the Council to control. Entire sectors were declaring independence. Species that had served the Council for millions of years were joining the human rebellion. "Deploy the extinction protocol," he ordered his generals. "If we cannot rule the galaxy, we will ensure no one else can either." The extinction protocol was the Council's ultimate weapon, designed to reset galactic civilization to primitive levels. It would destroy all advanced technology, all spacefaring ships, all artificial intelligence, and most modern cities. Billions would die, but the survivors would be too primitive to challenge Council authority ever again. But the Council had made one crucial mistake. They assumed that enhanced humans would think like normal people, that they would try to save everyone and everything. Enhanced humans thought differently. When Captain Da-Un received intelligence about the extinction protocol, she didn't feel fear or despair. Instead, she felt a cold, calculating anger that was entirely human but amplified by Prometheus enhancement. "They want to destroy everything," she reported to command. "Their weapon will kill billions of innocent people across the galaxy." "Recommendations?" asked Commander Hyunwoo. Da-Un's enhanced mind was already calculating possibilities. General Kim Tae-min stood before the largest war council in human history. Representatives from 50 different species filled the massive conference room on Earth, all united by one common goal: stopping the Council's extinction protocol before it could destroy galactic civilization. "The weapon is located at the galactic core," reported Dr. Park So-young, projecting a holographic map of the galaxy. "It's built into an ancient space station called the Heart of Order. The station has been the Council's seat of government for over 3 million years." The alien representatives shifted nervously. The Heart of Order was more than just a government building. To many species, it was like a holy place, the center of all law and civilization in the galaxy. Commander Threxal of the Cathari spoke first. "My people have served the Council from that station for 10,000 years. I know its defenses. They are impossible to breach." "Nothing is impossible," said Captain Yoon Da-un, her Prometheus-enhanced mind already analyzing the station's weaknesses. "We just need to think differently than every other species that has ever tried." General Kim activated another display showing human military doctrine. "For the past 6 months, we've been fighting like the Council expects us to fight. We've been trying to match their technology and their tactics, but that's not how humans really fight." "How do humans fight?" asked Commander Veltar of the Valdris. "We fight for ideas," General Kim replied. "The Council fights to maintain power. Other species fight for territory or resources. Humans fight for the right to exist, to grow, to become something better than what we were before." Captain Park Seo-jun, one of the enhanced pilots, stepped forward. "The Council's biggest weakness is that they can't imagine anyone thinking differently than they do. They've ruled for so long that they believe their way is the only way." "What are you suggesting?" asked the Zenth Coalition representative. Captain Da-un smiled, and her enhanced features made the expression both beautiful and terrifying. "We're going to do something no species has ever done before. We're going to attack the Heart of Order not to conquer it, but to free it." The plan that emerged from the War Council was unlike anything in galactic military history. Instead of trying to destroy the Council's ultimate weapon, the Allied forces would attempt to turn it into a liberation device. Instead of breaking the Heart of Order, they would transform it into the foundation of a new galactic government. Engineer Choi Min-ho worked frantically to modify the Prometheus technology for the mission. "The Heart of Order contains the Council's entire governmental database," he explained to his team. "Every law, every trade agreement, every species classification system for the last 3 million years. Can we access it?" asked Dr. Nam Hyejin. "Better than that," Min-ho replied. "We can rewrite it. If we can get Prometheus-enhanced humans into the station's core systems, we can literally reprogram galactic civilization." Dr. Lee Kwang-ho looked worried. "The ethical implications are enormous. We would be deciding the fate of billions of beings across thousands of worlds. The Council has been making those decisions for millions of years," Min-ho replied. The difference is that we'll give people the freedom to choose their own paths. Meanwhile, Captain Da-Eun was preparing for the most dangerous mission in human history. She would lead a strike force of 50 enhanced humans directly into the heart of order, while the main fleet created a diversion. The strike team included the best of humanity's new breed of warriors. Captain Kim Yoo-jin, who could pilot through asteroid fields at impossible speeds. Captain Lee Dong-min, who could hack alien computer systems with his bare hands. Captain Seo Mi-ra, who could fight her way through an entire battalion of enemy soldiers. But they weren't going alone. The allied species had insisted on sending their own enhanced warriors. Cathari crystal singers who could shatter enemy weapons with sound. Valdris bio-warriors who could adapt their bodies to any environment. Zenth mathematicians who could calculate the exact weak points of any defense. Remember, Da-Eun told her team as they prepared to launch, we're not going there to destroy the Council. We're going there to replace them. The battle for the galactic core began with the largest space fleet ever assembled. Human ships enhanced by Prometheus technology fought alongside alien vessels that had been upgraded with shared technology. Together, they faced the Council's ultimate defense force. Chancellor Vextar commanded the defense from his flagship, the Eternal Order. The massive ship was larger than most space stations and carried weapons that could destroy entire planets. Around it, thousands of Council ships formed defensive lines that had never been broken. Deploy all forces, Vextar commanded. The primitives must not reach the heart of order. But the Allied fleet didn't fight like primitives. They fought like a single organism with thousands of parts, each ship responding to the needs of the whole. Human tactical genius combined with Cathari crystal technology and Valdris. Bioengineering created attack patterns that the Council's computers couldn't predict, or Counter-Commander Hyunwoo led the main fleet in a direct assault on the Council's outer defenses. His ship, the Remember Busan, had been enhanced with Prometheus technology and crewed by a mix of human and alien officers. Together they fought with a coordination that amazed even their enemies. The humans are using impossible tactics, reported a Council commander to Chancellor Vextar. Their ships appear and disappear at will. Their weapons adapt faster than our shields can compensate. They are just one species, Vextar snarled. We have ruled the galaxy for 3 million years. Sir, the commander replied nervously, they're not fighting as one species anymore. The readings show human, Cathari, Valdris, and Zenth energy signatures all operating in perfect harmony. It's like they've become something new. While the main battle raged, Captain Da-Eun's strike force slipped through the chaos toward the heart of order. The ancient station was massive beyond comprehension, a structure that had been built over millions of years and housed the governments of countless worlds. Remember, she radioed to her team, we're not here to destroy this place. We're here to liberate it. The infiltration team split into 3 groups. Da-Eun led the assault on the Central Command Center. Captain Kim Yoo-jin took his team to secure the communication arrays. Captain Lee Dong-min headed for the main computer core where the Extinction Protocol weapon was controlled. They encountered heavy resistance from Council guards, but the enhanced humans and their alien allies fought with capabilities that defied every law of warfare. They moved like shadows, struck like lightning, and adapted to every defense the Council threw at them. Captain Lee Dong-min reached the computer core first. The chamber was vast and filled with crystalline structures that hummed with ancient power. At the center was the control system for the Extinction Protocol. I'm in position, he reported, beginning upload of Prometheus Liberation Protocol. Instead of trying to destroy the weapon, Lee began reprogramming it. The Council had built a device to reset galactic civilization to primitive levels. Lee was turning it into a liberation transmitter that would free every oppressed species simultaneously. Meanwhile, Captain Da-Eun fought her way toward Chancellor Vextar himself. The ancient alien leader waited in his personal command chamber, surrounded by the most advanced defenses in the galaxy. You cannot win, primitive, Vextar hissed as Da-Eun entered his chamber. Even if you destroy me, the Council will endure. We have ruled since before your species existed. That's where you're wrong, Da-Eun replied, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to dodge his energy attacks. We're not here to destroy the Council. We're here to replace it with something better. The fight between enhanced human and ancient alien leader was brief but spectacular. Vextar had millions of years of experience and access to the most advanced Council technology. But Da-Eun had something he couldn't understand. The the human refusal to accept that things had to stay the way they were. In the end, it wasn't superior weapons or ancient wisdom that decided the battle. It was the simple human belief that everyone deserved the chance to be free. When Captain Lee Dongmin activated the Liberation Protocol, the signal went out to every world in the galaxy simultaneously, but instead of destroying civilization, it carried a simple message. You are free to choose your own destiny. Across the galaxy, species that had been enslaved for millions of years felt the mental chains that bound them simply disappear. The Council's control systems, built into the very foundation of galactic society, were rewritten in an instant. The war was over. But the real work was just beginning. Chancellor Vextar, defeated but not dead, looked at Captain Dahun with something that might have been respect. "What will you do with us now, human?" "We'll give you the same choice we gave everyone else," Dahun replied. "You can help build something better, or you can step aside and let others do it." As the news of victory spread through the Allied fleet, Commander Hyunwoo realized that humanity had accomplished something unprecedented. They hadn't just won a war. They had transformed the very nature of galactic civilization. The question now was, what would they build in place of what they had torn down? 6 months after the liberation of the Heart of Order, Dr. Park So-young stood in what had once been Chancellor Vextar's private office. The room was being transformed into something the galaxy had never seen before. A council chamber where every species had an equal voice. Representatives from hundreds of worlds were arriving for the first meeting of the Galactic Commonwealth. Unlike the old council, where 12 species ruled over everyone else, the Commonwealth would be governed by principles that seemed impossible to many aliens: freedom, equality, and the right of every species to determine its own destiny. "Are you sure this will work?" asked Commander Threxel of the Cathari. His crystal body reflected light in patterns that showed nervousness. "My people have been servants for 10,000 years. We don't know how to make decisions for ourselves." "That's exactly why it will work," Dr. So-young replied. "Freedom isn't something you learn from books. It's something you discover by doing." She gestured to the window where dozens of ships from different species worked together to repair battle damage to the Heart of Order station. Human engineers worked alongside Valdris biotechnicians and Zenth mathematicians, sharing knowledge freely and building things that none of them could have created alone. "Look at them," she said. 3 months ago, those species couldn't talk to each other without council permission. Now they're building the future together. In the station's main engineering section, engineer Choi Min-ho was overseeing the most ambitious project in galactic history. The weapon that had been designed to destroy civilization was being converted into something that would help it grow, a technology-sharing network that would allow every species to benefit from everyone else's discoveries. "The integration is proceeding better than expected," reported Dr. Nam Hye-jin. "The Cathari crystal technology combines perfectly with human computer systems. The Valdris bioengineering enhances both, and the Zenth mathematical models make it all work more efficiently." Min-ho nodded, but his face showed concern. "What about the Prometheus modifications? Are the enhanced humans adapting well to peace?" It was a serious question. The humans who had been enhanced by Prometheus technology were incredibly powerful, but they had been designed for war. Now that the fighting was over, some of them were struggling to find their place in a peaceful galaxy. Captain Yoon Da-un was dealing with exactly that problem. She sat in her quarters aboard the Ghost of Busan, staring out at the stars and wondering what to do with herself now that there were no more enemies to fight. Her enhanced mind could process information at incredible speeds, but it kept showing her the same conclusion. The war was over, and she wasn't sure who she was supposed to be now. A soft chime announced a visitor. Captain Kim Yoo-jin entered, looking as uncertain as she felt. "Having the same problem?" she asked. "I keep running combat scenarios in my head," Yoo-jin admitted. "My enhanced reflexes are designed for battle, but there's nothing to fight anymore." "Maybe that's not the right question," said a voice from the doorway. Commander Hyunwoo entered carrying a datapad. "Maybe instead of asking what to fight, we should ask what to build." He activated the datapad, showing them a list of projects that the Commonwealth was planning. Exploration missions to unknown sectors of the galaxy. Rescue operations for species that were still trapped by the old Council's restrictions. Teaching programs to help newly liberated worlds develop their own technology. "The galaxy is full of problems that need solving," Hyunwoo said. and we're the only people with the capabilities to solve them. Da-un felt something she hadn't experienced since before her enhancement. Hope for the future. You're saying we should become explorers instead of warriors. I'm saying you should become whatever the galaxy needs you to be, Hyunwoo replied. That's what humans have always done best. Meanwhile, in the Commonwealth's new diplomatic center, former Chancellor Vextar was learning what it meant to be treated as an equal rather than a ruler. He sat across from General Kim Tae-min, negotiating the terms of his people's participation in the new galactic government. Your terms are generous, Vextar admitted, his reptilian features showing confusion. After what my people did to yours, I expected punishment, not partnership. Punishment doesn't build a better future, General Kim replied. Your people ruled through fear for millions of years because they were afraid themselves. Afraid of losing control, afraid of change, afraid of other species becoming as powerful as them. And you're not afraid? General Kim smiled. We're terrified, but we're also excited. Fear and excitement often come from the same source, the unknown. The difference is how you choose to respond to it. Vextar considered this. In all his centuries of life, he had never thought of fear and excitement as related emotions. What do you want from my people? Help us build something better than what came before, Kim said simply. Share your knowledge, learn from other species, and give your people the freedom to choose their own paths. That's all anyone really wants. The transformation wasn't happening just at the galactic level. On individual worlds, species that had been oppressed for millennia were discovering what freedom meant. On the Cathari homeworld, crystal cities grew in new patterns as their builders were finally free to create according to their own visions, rather than council requirements. On Valdris worlds, bioengineers who had been forced to create weapons for the council were now developing medical technologies that could heal injuries that had been considered permanent for thousands of years. Even on former council worlds, citizens were exploring ideas and technologies that had been forbidden under the old regime. Art, music, literature, and science flourished as beings discovered they could think and create without permission from authorities. But the most profound changes were happening to humanity itself. The species that had been nearly wiped out by the Council was now at the center of galactic civilization, not as rulers but as teachers and guides. Captain Lee Dong-min, the enhanced human who had reprogrammed the Extinction Protocol, was now leading exploration missions to the galaxy's outer edges. His enhanced abilities allowed him to navigate dangerous regions that no one had ever successfully explored. We found 17 new species in the past month, he reported to Commonwealth headquarters. All of them were hiding from the Council in regions thought to be uninhabitable. They're eager to join the Commonwealth and share their technologies. Captain Park Seo-jun was leading a different kind of mission. His team was helping species that had been modified by the Council to serve specific functions. Many beings had been genetically altered to be perfect servants or soldiers, and they needed help discovering who they wanted to be when they could choose for themselves. It's not easy, he reported. Some of them have been servants for so many generations that they've forgotten they're capable of independent thought. But they're learning. Dr. Park So-young found herself in the unexpected position of being the Commonwealth's first human ambassador, a role that required her to help other species understand human nature and motivations. The question we get most often, she reported to Earth, is why humans are willing to share power instead of keeping it for themselves. Many species simply cannot understand the concept of voluntary equality. What do you tell them? Asked General Kim. I tell them that power shared is power multiplied, So-young replied. One human with an idea might change a world. 1,000 humans with 1,000 different species sharing ideas can change the galaxy. A year after the liberation, Commander Hyunwoo stood on the observation deck of the Heart of Order, now renamed the Commonwealth Center. The space around the station was filled with ships from hundreds of different worlds, all working together on projects that would have been impossible under the old council. Captain Da-yoon joined him, her enhanced senses picking up details about the ships and their crews that normal humans couldn't perceive. Any regrets? She asked. Hyunwoo thought about the 50,000 people who had died at New Busan, the innocent civilians whose deaths had started this whole conflict. I regret that it took so much death to get here, he said. But I don't regret where we ended up. The enhanced humans are adapting well to peace, Da-un reported. Most of us have found new purposes. We're explorers, teachers, problem solvers. We're still different from baseline humans, but we're finding ways to use those differences to help, rather than hurt. And the galaxy? Dayun's enhanced mind processed information from across known space, growing, changing, becoming something it never was before. Species that never talk to each other are now best friends. Technologies that were kept secret for millions of years are being shared freely. Art and music and literature are exploding across every world. She paused, accessing data streams from the Commonwealth's information network. Crime is down 67% across all member worlds. Scientific advancement has increased by 340%. Most importantly, the number of species living in fear has dropped to nearly zero. Hyunwoo smiled. Engineer Minho asked me the other day if we've become the new council, just with better intentions. What did you tell him? I told him that the day we stop asking that question is the day we need to step aside and let someone else lead. As they watched, a new ship appeared on their sensors. It was coming from the galaxy's unexplored regions.